Hi, Pastor Nathan Deck with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. And this week we begin the season of Lent. Now, a lot of folks may not be aware of this. Mark Wahlberg's doing an excellent job as an actor and as a practicing Catholic, trying to make people aware of the 40 days of trying to get dedicated to a spiritual practice and to grow spiritually. And so I thought this week I would take time to actually think about that for a moment. What does it mean to grow spiritually? When we grow physically, it just happens naturally. We don't have to do anything except eat healthy food and maybe do a little exercise. And as we become adults and more mature, if we want to grow physically, we do things like running or go to the gym or find some hobby that we love to do and we grow in that. What do we do when we grow spiritually? What do we mean by growing spiritually? I think for a lot of folks, we get confused because we think that growing spiritually means knowing more about God. So we try to go to classes or we try to understand the Bible from a new perspective or a new understanding. We try to memorize scriptures. We try to know more about God. But I don't think that's actually what we mean when we say that we desire to grow spiritually. I think when we talk about growing spiritually, what we really mean is that we want to grow closer to God. We want to have an emotional as well as intellectual in interaction with God. We want to know more of who God is. We want to know more about God's presence. We want to be in God's presence. We want to find ourselves lost in wonder and awe. We want to find ourselves within God's lap, hearing God tell us a story. We just want to feel closer and connected to the whole universe, to all of creation, and most especially to the Creator who lived and died and rose again. We want to have that emotional feeling that comes from within, that we know is more than just what we ate last night, but instead it is something that is soul-oriented, spirit-oriented, essence-driven. When we say we want to grow spiritually, what we're really talking about is getting closer to God. And no amount of memorization of verses or reading theology books or even striving to memorize the entire Bible or go to Sunday school classes is going to do that for us. What will What will do it for us is this: spending time with other folks on the journey. That's the true purpose behind Sunday school. Growing in fellowship, growing better together, spending time intentionally seeking God. I firmly believe that God is all around us all the time. What God waits for most often is for us to provide space and company for that awareness to take place. What does it mean when we want to say we want to grow spiritually? We want to get closer to Jesus. And the way to do that is to get closer to one another and to get closer to Christ himself in his teachings and in following his way. The better together.